pretty much ready to go. So this evening we are in Flight Simulator 2024. We have the A340-300 in front of us on the ground. We are at Munich in Germany. Let me just go inside, it's really noisy out there, isn't it? So yeah, we're on the ground at Munich with the A340-300 from Inibuilds. We're going to fly it from Munich over to Manchester. So it'll be about a 2-hour flight, and we'll see how we get on. So I've gone and pre-filed the flight with Simbrief, which should give us the flight plan. Let's have a quick look at this. So flying at flight level 340. Have we got any climbs along the way? Doesn't look like it. So it's going to be 340 all the way from Munich. Okay, so let's get this show on the road. I'm just going to open alongside on another machine the functional procedure I'm going to be working through to get the airplane up and going. So I'm just pulling that up now. Inibuilds A340-300 start procedure. He says famous last words as my browser refuses to cooperate with me. Okay. So just to explain what I'm doing here. If I go and show you the source of this, I put a link to this in the notes of the video. So the way I typically remember how to do what in the various airplanes is I wrote up my own functional procedures to get the airplanes up and running. And they start off, they go through how to configure things if you've never done it before, but once you've done it once, you don't have to do that top half of the document. And it goes into pre-flight, so it tells you keyboard shortcuts if you don't know your way around the airplane, or if you just want an easy way to navigate around the cockpit. And it tells you absolutely everything to do around the airplane, almost like an aid memoir, but it also fills in some of the blanks that a normal procedure in the airplane documentation might not cover. So it's got, you know, a lot of reminders along the way. Okay, let's go and get this up and running, shall we? So I'm going to start scrolling through that procedure and doing everything it says. So first of all, we're going to go overhead and we're going to go and turn the batteries on. Then we're going to go and turn the external power on. It's already connected to the airplane. We're going to check strobe is in the middle. It is. Nav logo can go to 2. Master switch for the APU can go to on. Give it a few seconds and then we can start the APU. Go and turn on the crew air supply. Emergency exit light goes to armed. And the no smoking sign can go to auto. Okay, so further overhead we can go and rotate each of the ADIRs, or inertial navigation system, so air data inertial reference system it stands for. Turn those to nav to allow the system to align, and then down in the cockpit we can go and check the brightnesses. They all look good actually, don't need to fiddle with them. So over to the tablet, let's go and get our flight plan. So we'll go to my flight and we'll go import from Simbrief, and it should tell us Munich to Manchester. That's absolutely perfect. Come back out of there, go to payload and fueling, import all from Simbrief. So that will give us the right amount of everything inside the aeroplane. We can then instant load the fuel and it will say fuel applied. And then we can instant load the payload and it will say payload set to aircraft. I haven't got GSX installed, so we don't need to do anything there. Then we can go over to the Takeoff Performance app and we can sync the FMGS. It's saying, obviously there's an error at the moment because there's no data in it. We can sync the weather. And then we can calculate. And that gives us our V-speeds, which we will refer to later. And we can send this to the FMGS, so it will be available to do a direct lift of the data when we come to populate the performance numbers later. Okay, so having done that, we can press Alt and 3, and we're over at the MCDU, or Multi-Purpose Control and Display Unit. I always forget what that stands for. So then clear out the messages at the bottom, which is just to do with the systems coming up. And then go to the init page. and we'll do an init request, which will fetch the Simbrief flight plan. Okay, so that's fetched it. We can go into wind as well. I think, oh, it's already fetched it, but we can do another wind request, it won't hurt it. And we can clear out the messages there. If we go back to the init page and go sideways, we can then do the block fuel. So company message received, that'll be the load sheet. So we'll go block, and it will pre-calculate it for us. And then we can click 0 fuel weight, and it will pre-calculate that for us. So we saw that there was a company message, so we go to the MCDU menu, and then go to ATSU, then go to, wait for it, and then go to AOC, and then received messages, and you will see a load sheet message, and we can accept the load sheet, and then we can return, and we can go to the init page directly, don't have to wait. So we did all of the init information. Let's go have a look at the flight plan. So we need to go and put the standard instrument departure in. So we're taking off runway 26 left and going to input to Sierra. So we select Munich, click departure, and it was 26 left, input to Sierra. So 26 left for departure, and then scroll through the standard instrument departures, and there's input to Sierra, and then insert that into our plan, and then go down to Manchester, go to arrival, and let's have a look at what we've got. Elvo 1 mic into runway 23 right. So ILS 23 right, and Elvo 1 mic, there it is. No transitions, insert. And it's calculated the numbers, which is usually a really good sign that it hasn't got any discontinuities. Oh no, I tell a lie, look, we've got a discontinuity there. So the reason for that, I can tell you why straight away. So that's the, yeah, it's got as far as landing. So that is EGCC, look, 23 right. So that's beyond landing. So say we're going to do a go around, it's going out to asking for manual vectors at that point. So it's literally saying get 750 feet off the ground, or sorry, above sea level. In other words, get off the ground. But the rest of the flight look is all in here. So we're just scrolling through. There's no other discontinuities. That's absolutely fine then. Okay, so we can go to the performance page, and this is where I was referring to when we filled the tablet in. You get confirmed takeoff data if you have sent the data across from the tablet. So you don't have to key all this in, it just pulls it straight through. And then we can clear the message and go next and have a look at the climb. We're not going to derate the climb, so it's all fine. Let's cruise. It's got the cost index, that's the important thing for us. Next phase. Next phase. So we won't do the destination data until we are nearly there to make sure it's accurate at the time. Okay, so we've gone through doing everything we need to do there. So we're going to go then overhead. Actually, before we do that, we need to go and do the FGCP. So the FGCP is this panel here, the flight, what does it stand for again? Flight Guidance Control Panel, I think. So we need to go and put the initial altitude in. So we're going to go and get clearance first. So let's go to, we're at Munich or München Airport. Let's go to the clearance channel. Have they got clearance? Oh, it's this one here, of course it is. So 12173. In here, do we need to go and turn this on? We probably do. And we'll move the seat out of the way. Munich clearance, Lufthansa 073 requesting clearance to Manchester as filed. I didn't ask for information there, or with information I should have said that. Okay, we've got some issues with the sound, it didn't generate an actual message.
Lufthansa 073, cleared to Manchester via the input 2 Sierra departure runway 26 left. Initial climb to flight level 070.
That's the important
departure
bit.
on 118.83 squawk 3141.
Cleared to Manchester via the Input 2 Sierra departure. Departure runway 26 left. Initial climb at flight level 070. Departure on 118.83. Squawk 3141. Lufthansa 073. So we'll go and do the transponder first. 3141. So
Lufthansa 073, read back correct. Ground is on 121.83, safe flight, sir.
3141. 3141. While we're here, we'll just check what modes it's on. So it's already on. It's on auto now. And we won't put TA mode on until we are, as traffic advisory, until we're on the runway.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Lufthansa Flight 073, departing from Munich Airport to Manchester. Please take your seats
we can also
according to
go
your
and put
boarding passes
that one
stow your hand
on
luggage in the
flight plan
overhead
as
bins
well.
or under the seats in front of you. If you require
So,
any assistance, do not
flight level
hesitate to contact any member of the
070.
crew. Thank you for your attention.
Oh, we'll go and put ourselves back on the radio check channel while we're doing things until we actually need to talk to them, otherwise we'll start hearing other traffic talking to the tower. So 7,000 feet. And this can all go to a managed mode. To be honest, it's interesting that it hasn't. So let's have a look. Company message, so let's go and have a look at company messages. Company message received, clear. That'll be the other load sheet. So MCDU menu, Atsu. Oh, we haven't put the flight directors on, that's why it hasn't lit up. AOC, received messages, load sheet, accept. You can go through these numbers and check everything, you know, cross-check everything by hand. Okay, so what we saw there, notice that a moment ago I was expecting to see managed mode. The reason you're not seeing managed mode is I haven't put the flight directors on. There we go, look. As soon as you put the flight directors on, it does that. Let's go and calibrate the altimeter as well, make it accurate. I have wound time backwards. Say Intentions probably won't be aware of that. So I've given you daylight so you can actually see what I'm doing. I know I've done quite a few night flights recently because that's the time I get to fly usually. I may do some flights on the other side of the planet late at night for me, so you get to see them in daylight, and it agrees with the time with air traffic services as well. Okay, we could do a gross flight plan check if we wish to, so we go to nav on here, that puts us in the center, and we could zoom out to do this to say 40 miles, and then you can just scroll through the legs page and you'll see the aeroplane. He says famous last words. Why is that not scrolling? Oh, it's plan, isn't it? Sorry. And then you can move through the route to make sure it looks all sensible. That looks good. So there is a bit of a... It won't look like this when we come in. We'll get to, I think, Dane, and then we'll probably get vectors onto the approach. We'll see what happens. Okay, so we'll put this back onto arc mode, put it back to 10 miles for the departure so we can actually see the departure. When we turn around, it will make some sense. Okay, so we need to prepare the engines. But before we do that, we go and put the seatbelt signs on, so when we start pushing back, people don't start falling over. So seatbelts can go to auto, or we can actually switch them straight on. External power can come off because the APU has been running for ages already. Then Shift and 5, we're going to go back into the tablet, go to ground equipment. We're going to remove the GPU from the aeroplane, remove the chocks from the aeroplane, make sure all the doors are closed. So that's the one with the jet bridge, or the jetway. Is the jetway still attached? Can we... Okay, this is being a so-and-so. I think it is. So we can toggle the jetway. Notice there's a great big gap in it. That's the flight simulator thing. Yeah, there you go. Look, it's closing the gap. It's sometimes really clever and sometimes not so clever when it does it. Okay, so let's get rid of the jet bridge. Let's go and ask ground for pushback and engine start. Munich ground. Lufthansa 073 requesting pushback and engine start.
Lufthansa 073, pushback and engine start approved. Face south.
Pushback and engine start approved. Face south, Lufthansa 073. So let's go and have a look at the chart for the airport and see which way we are actually facing in terms of the compass. So we want us to face south, so the tail has to go to our left. So we have got pushback controls in here, so we'll use them. Pushback started, here comes the truck. It's right underneath the aeroplane, so it's difficult for the crew to see. So I'll turn the parking brake off. Should we turn the head tracking on? And we're being pushed back. So now we're being pushed back. We want tail to our left. So let's do that. Let's just make sure there's nothing too close to us.
Welcome aboard Lufthansa Flight 073.
Or maybe we'll go in a straight line for a while.
From MA1 Fornchen Airport to Manchester. Our estimated flight time is approximately 1 hour and 50 minutes. Please pay close attention to the upcoming safety demonstration, as it contains important information for frequent flyers. Fasten your seat belts by inserting the metal tip into the buckle and adjusting the strap. The seatbelt must be fastened whenever the sign is. Return your seat backs and tray tables to the upright position and ensure window blinds are open for takeoff and landing. Mobile phones and electronic devices must be sent to flight mode, and larger devices should be securely stowed. Smoking and the use of e-cigarettes are prohibited anywhere on board, including the lavatories. Oxygen masks will drop automatically if needed. Pull the mask firmly. Place it over your nose.
Okay, so now we've got the pushback done. I'm just going to turn head tracking off to go and do this. So we're going to go and turn the beacon light is already on. APU bleed can go on now.
In case of evacuation, leave all personal belongings behind. If any electronic device becomes hot or
Ignition
catches
to
fire,
start.
inform the crew immediately. The safety information card contains all
We'll do
details.
engines 1 and 2 first. There we go.
Runway 26 left taxi, via Romeo, Sierra 4, Sierra, Bravo, Bravo 14.
Runway 26 left taxi, via Romeo, Sierra 4, Sierra, Bravo, Bravo 14, Delta Zulu, Quebec, Lima, Victor.
Okay, let's go and check the
Delta
flap
Quebec Hotel Delta
settings,
Papa.
make
Give
sure
way
they're
to the
correct.
Lufthansa A350 on your left.
Giving way to the Lufthansa A350, Delta Quebec Hotel, Delta Papa.
So we want flaps
Ground
to
Scandinavian 4759.
and trim 5 up.
Scandinavian 4759er. Taxi to parking via Bravo 8, Sierra.
Actually, we won't do
Sierra
the flaps
5,
until the engines are
W,
running because
1 blue.
we want the hydraulic systems to be working properly, don't we?
Bravo 8, Sierra, Sierra 5, W1 Blue, Scandinavian
So we're
4759er.
just waiting for the engines and then we'll start the other two. Nearly there.
Delta Quebec Hotel Delta Papa. Give way to the Lufthansa A350 on your left.
Available. Good.
Give way to the Lufthansa A350, Delta Quebec Hotel, Delta Papa.
We haven't put the pumps on, let's go do that. This is because I started talking and haven't been referring to the procedures for the last few minutes. These are boost pumps, so the engines will still run without them. They just won't run very well. See that the warnings have now gone away. So predictive wind shear needs to be switched on. That's over here. TCAS is still on standby. APU bleed is on, obviously, because it's spinning the engines up, although the ignition will have taken over by now. You can see that from the exhaust gas temperature coming up. So we should have enough to do the flaps. So there we go, because obviously 2 of the engines are running. So you can see flaps are in transit. And we want 5 up. And it's already on 5 up here. Yeah, on the trim. Which is good. Engines are available. which means we can turn off the ignition. Go and arm the ground spoilers while we're here. Look overhead, turn the APU bleed off, turn the APU off, bus transfer is automatic. Taxi lights on. And then we go and talk to ground again. And we are looking to go to runway 26 left. Munich ground, Lufthansa 073 requesting taxi to runway 26 left. So just got to come over here.
Lufthansa 073, runway 26 left, taxi via Echo 2, Sierra 8, Sierra, Bravo, Bravo 14.
Taxi via Echo 2, Sierra 8, Sierra, Bravo 14. Lufthansa 073, thank you. So straight ahead, then left, and then second on the left when we come down here. So parking brake off, ease the throttles forwards. Get away from everybody else. There's people spawning in around us, isn't there? Okay, so we cross over here and then turn left. So here's the island. And the near side is the route we want, which is Sierra. There we go, there's the sign for Sierra. And 14 is going to be over here, isn't it, somewhere? So a little look just to remind ourselves. So we're coming along here now. So B14. So this, the closer one is not the one we want. It's this one.
Air France 22 Tango Tango, runway 26 left, taxi via Charlie 3, Echo 1, Charlie 5, Sierra 6, Sierra Bravo, Bravo 14.
Runway 26 left, taxi via Charlie 3, Echo 1, Charlie 5, Sierra 6, Sierra, Bravo, Bravo 14, Air France 22 Tango Tango.
Mike, ready to taxi. Lufthansa 073, contact tower on 118.70555.
Contacting tower 118.705, Lufthansa 073, good day. Munich tower, Lufthansa 073, holding short at Bravo 14 for runway 26 left.
Lufthansa 073, heavy, Munich tower, runway 26 left, winds 240 at 14, cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 26 left, Lufthansa 073 heavy. It's interesting how some of them refer to you without heavy and some of them don't. So we've still got some bits and pieces to do in the cockpit. I'm going to turn head tracking off while we do it. So auto brake goes to max. We've got to do a takeoff config test when we get lined up. The cabin is ready. Okay, turn the head tracking off for a moment. Go and press takeoff config in and let go of it, and everything's gone green, which is great.
On runway 26 left remaining. 2,300 feet.
Okay, we've already been given takeoff clearance. Landing lights are on. Flight directors are on. Altitude's in. Route is good. Something else we might want to do is put TCAS on to TA, but not TARA, not yet.
D1.
Okay, gear up.
Lufthansa 073, contact departure on 118.83.
Contacting departure 118.83, Lufthansa 073. Good day. Departure, Lufthansa 073 with you, climbing out on the NP2 Sierra departure.
Lufthansa 073, heavy, Munich departure identified, climb flight level 070, direct Delta, Mike 051.
Climbing flight level 070, direct Delta Mike 051, Lufthansa 073. That's on our flight plan. There it is, look. Okay, we're coming up, we've gone through the transition altitude, so we switch to standard barometric pressure, holding at 7,000 feet. And have a look at the route ahead now. We'll go and put TARA on now.
Lufthansa 073, heavy, climb flight level 240.
Climbing flight level 240, Lufthansa 073 heavy. Open climb. Go straight for altitude. They didn't say on the standard instrument departure, did they? But let's have a look at it, see what it looks like anyway. So how far does it extend? So it doesn't have altitude constraints.
Lufthansa 073, contact Munich radar on 125.14.
Contacting Munich radar 125.14, Lufthansa 073 heavy. Munich radar, Lufthansa 073 heavy with you, climbing to flight level 240.
Lufthansa 073, Munich radar, identified, grüß Sie.
Okay, so it's pretty plain sailing from here on. Things have gone swimmingly for a change.
Dear guests, the use of approved electronic devices is now permitted in flight mode. Cabin service will begin shortly. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, so we'll keep an eye on the airplane. We've just gone through 10,000 feet, so we don't need the landing lights on anymore. Be interesting to see how cold these clouds are if we get ice detected and have to go and turn on the Anti-ice systems.
Lufthansa 073, climb flight level 300.
Climbing flight level 300, Lufthansa 073. So we have a question, which is better? I get this question every time I do a live stream. Which is better, Say Intentions or Beyond ATC? In my opinion, Say Intentions is much better at the moment. It's a moving target because they are both developing all the time. In my opinion, Say Intentions are developing faster. They're taking more risks, so they do break from time to time. But their cadence of development is much faster than Beyond ATC. And it's much more flexible. The actual tool is much more flexible, and it does a lot more than Beyond ATC tries to do. So yeah, I'm not going to get into a full comparison now, but for my money, the Beyond ATC is good. They're both good, but Say Intentions is much more flexible and has an awful lot more in it than Beyond ATC does. There's a link in the notes of the video. If you want to go and have a play with Say Intentions, there's a link. You can get a 24-hour free pass to go play with it. So clear your day at some point, go and use the link, install it and have a play.
Climb flight level 340.
Climbing flight level 340, Lufthansa 073. One of the really nice things about Say Intentions is they've got a large language model obviously working on the back end, so you can have a conversation with the controllers. You don't have to just... Obviously I'm being quite professional about this at the moment, and I'm speaking using the correct terminology and the way that they would expect for the phases of flight we're in. I've missed the ball, dropped the ball here and there along the way, like I didn't give them information. But you can turn the strictness up, so they will berate you if you miss things out, like your call sign or whatever it might be. But yeah, it's really interesting actually. But alongside being able to do that, we also have the cabin crew. So as well as having the co-pilot alongside us, she has a voice in Say Intentions, so we can talk to her. So I'll show you an example. Hi Amanda, how is the flight looking so far? It takes a second for her to respond.
We're on track, Jonathan. Climbing to flight level 340 and everything's going smoothly. We've got about 84 minutes until descent into Manchester.
And we can also talk to the cabin crew. Hi cabin crew, how is everything looking back there?
Everything is under control, Captain. Passengers are seated and the cabin is secure.
We can also talk to the passengers with Say Intentions, and the key behind that is what we have said to the passengers is in the context of what the co-pilots and the cabin crew understand about the flight. So say we had a diversion or something through from air traffic services, we could tell the passengers, and then the cabin crew in their further announcements would be referring to the diversion, for example.
138 Tango. Descend and maintain flight level 230.
Down to flight level 230.
So we have a live stream comment from Lee Rose saying, as we speak I'm downloading 2024. I've decided it seems the right time. Do you agree? Any time is the right time. I was obviously an early adopter. When it first came out I removed 2020 and installed 2024, and yes, it has been painful from time to time, but the sim has become very, very good. It's still unstable. When you go back to the main menu, there are numerous aeroplanes where it will crash you out of the sim when you go back to main menu. I have no idea what causes it. It doesn't happen for everybody. But typically I'm logging into the sim to do one particular flight, and then afterwards I'm shutting it down again, so it doesn't really affect me too much. But it's a monster of a simulator. If you want something impressive to go look at and you've got a very good internet connection, when you first install 2024, go to Yosemite, go to the Grand Canyon, you know, go and fly around. At the moment, go and fly around Amsterdam. It's incredible. So yeah, it's worth pointing out I have got both Beyond ATC and Say Intentions, and I agree with the live stream. Say Intentions is more immersive because you can have those conversations. And you can have the conversations with the controllers, and you can switch, for example, say you took off in a small aeroplane doing a VFR flight and the weather came in and you need to file an IFR plan mid-flight. You can do it. You can talk to the controller, tell them the details of your IFR plan, and they will file it for you and clear you. There's all that kind of flexibility. It's very, very good. You can depart from an IFR plan mid-flight, or you can have flight following as well. So say you're doing a VFR flight through somewhere quite dodgy or whatever, and you want the ATC to track you along the way, you can request flight following and they'll do so. You can also pause the flight following. So you can say that I want to go and explore this city, we'll resume, you know, my planned route in a few minutes, and they'll be absolutely fine with that, and they'll just say, you know, let us know when you want to carry on. And you can do pattern work as well. The controllers understand doing pattern work in GA planes. So you call them on the downwind and tell them when you're on finals, and it's very, very good. It also simulates VFR traffic, which I don't think Beyond ATC does. So you get a lot of GA traffic. If you turn the levels up, you get a lot of GA traffic at lower levels. Okay, we're coming up to top of climb at Al-Aqsa. Should we go and put the weather radar on? See if it lights up with anything worth looking at. So it's down here, isn't it? We'll go system number 1. And there it is. Not sure that we can mix weather and... No, you can't have weather and terrain radar, so one will defeat the other. If we increase the range on this, we'll probably see the coastline. Or nothing at all. Obviously terrain radar has a limit. You'll see it draw in over here in a moment. When it sweeps back past again, there it goes, look. Let's put the weather radar back on. There is some traffic near us. If we go and pull down to a few miles, that's an airport. Let's have a look. I thought I saw some traffic. Yeah, there is, look. There's one, there's another one. So they're above us. If you have a look on LittleNavMap, we'll be able to see them. There they are, look. So all of these aeroplanes you can see in LittleNavMap, the orange aeroplanes, are being injected by Say Intentions. So when we hear other aircraft communicating with centre, they will be the aeroplanes we can see on the map and see out of the windows. Okay, so we've got a bit of a slog now across the... We're almost up to cruise. I'll have to turn the seatbelt sign off in a moment. So, something I've been weighing up recently everybody was super excited to see the Aerosoft and Tollis collaboration on their A340. Yes, it's impressive, but I think the Inibuilds A340 is better. It's more rounded. It may not be as super accurate in terms of the avionics and the flight model, but as a product, it's more rounded. It's more polished. And I actually enjoy it more because of that. So things like the pushback works, and all these little features like the terrain radar and the weather radar and the sounds and the visual quality inside is a little bit better, I think.
Lima contact, Langen radar on 124.43.
Look at that crosswind, 80 knot crosswind.
124.43 for Lufthansa 2 Foxtrot Lima. Good day.
So we're still targeting 34,000 feet. Heading's managed, speed is managed. So in other words, it's following the calculated numbers. And we're just coming up to the top of climb. As soon as we get there, I'll go turn the seatbelt signs off. But yeah, I think Inibuilds have really kind of shown the quality of some of their aeroplanes now is just spectacular. They're up there with PMDG now, aren't they? If not better. It's impressive stuff. Can we pull out the tray table? Yeah, we can. Look, so they've even done things that have no actual use. I mean, there's no reason for that to do that, but it does. So it does work. Whether I can put it away again is another question. There we go. Okay, just coming up to cruise altitude. Let's go and turn the seatbelt signs to auto, and we'll probably hear the cabin crew talk to the passengers now. Or not. Hi cabin crew, it's the pilot. You can let the passengers get up now and give them advice about walking around during cruise.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now free to move about the cabin. Please remember to be cautious while walking around and to return to your seats when the seatbelt sign is illuminated. Thank you.
Okay, so obviously you'll have noticed I have a head tracking system. It's called a Tobii Eye Tracker, which allows me to freely move around. It isn't a perfect solution to everything. It does make it much more immersive, and it makes the videos look nice when I go wandering around the cockpit looking at things. But it is super difficult to click on things that are small if you're using the head tracker, so I tend to turn it on and off during the flight. And if I need to do anything fiddly, I'll just disable it. But when you're flying around and you just want to have a look out the window, it's super handy. Should put the map on. That's better. So you can see where we're going now, over to Manchester. So we'll probably get a handoff in a moment to another controller, I would imagine. I think we're just about to cross over into a different sector. So to illustrate this for people that haven't seen it, I'm going to ask the co-pilot to take over radio communications for a while. Hi Amanda, can you take over radio communications for a while, please?
Sure, Jonathan. I'll handle the radios from here.
So the next time air traffic services talk to us, Amanda will respond, I won't have to, which means I can go make a coffee. We have a company message. Let's go and have a look. MCDU, clear. Company messages. Atsu. AOC. Received messages. And we have a ADC message. No ADC required. In other words, we took off on time. If you get a delay, they will ask you for a code and you can fill a form in. I'll show you where you can find those out, so I'll leave this back on the flight plan page. So if you come back over here and go to My Flight, you can see the delay card, and it gives you all of the codes for the different types of delay.
Contact Langenradar on 127.725.
You're going to hear the co-pilot now respond. We've just changed sectors.
Contacting Langen radar on 127.725. Lufthansa 073.
There we go. And now she will switch the radio channels for us and communicate with the next sector.
Langen radar, Lufthansa 073. Good afternoon, maintaining flight level 340.
Lufthansa 073, Langenradar, identified. Guten Nachmittag.
So it's interesting, people are commenting about the quality of the EFB, or the tablet, in the aircraft. In the Inibuilds tablet, it's very impressive. The Tolis one is much more functional. Arguably, the Tolis one has functionality that the Inibuilds one doesn't, because the Tolis one can do state saving, and it's really good at it. So at any point in a flight, you can save the situation, and then you can load it back, and the aircraft will be perfectly how you saved it, and where you saved it, you know, in the situation it was in. Which I don't think many airplanes in 2024 at least can do that, or not reliably anyway. Unfortunately, there's lots of other things that are unreliable, but I'm sure that Aerosoft and Tolis will be working their backsides off to polish that aeroplane up and make it really good, because Tolis have such a good reputation in the X-plane world, and their aeroplanes have always been the reference by which all of the others were judged. But having said that, the bar has been raised. Some of the aeroplanes in 2020 and 2024 are just spectacular. So yeah, it's a moving target, isn't it? What was good 10 years ago is pretty terrible now, and what was good 6 months ago is now actually been overshadowed by some of the spectacular aircraft we've seen released. It must be a nightmare for the development teams. They see the next thing come out that someone else has achieved. It's almost like the demo scene was with the 16-bit computers years ago, where people were writing demos that nobody thought was possible. And it's kind of happening with the airplanes now. But I just think we're really lucky, though, to have, we've got choice, and we've got competition between the different development teams to make better and better aeroplanes, which is a fantastic place to be, really. As consumers, it means we get really competitively priced aeroplanes, and because there are so many copies of Flight Sim out there, the days of the £100 add-ons have gone. So you can see that even the likes of PMDG releasing the 737-600 for very low cost. It's been fantastic. So people that are wanting to go and learn the Boeings can go and get the 737-600 for a really reasonable amount of money, and it's a fantastic aeroplane. Right, I'm going to leave Amanda to look after the radios for a while, and I'm going to go and make a coffee. Let's just go and have a look on the MCDU, or MCDU as people call it, and have a look at the flight information. So we're looking, where's top of descent? If we scroll down, there it is. 12:26 local time in the aeroplane. We're at 11. So in about 45 minutes I need to be back and taking care of the aeroplane. So I'm going to go make a coffee. I'll be back way before then. I completely agree with the comments in the live stream, by the way, saying it's easy to be the reference when you are almost the only one. So yeah, that was the situation Tollis had. Although saying that Flight Factor are very good as well. So just recently Flight Factor have reached out to me to ask me if I'd like to take a look at their 777 and to show it to everybody. So don't be surprised if you see me back in X-Plane soon. Just take a look at the Flight Factor 777. I need to update my knowledge though, because X-Plane 12 had an update recently and it has native Tobii Eye Tracker support now. Now I had to use an add-on to get it working properly previously, so that may not be the case anymore, but I don't know yet. I just haven't had the time. It's interesting, I had an email the other day asking, you know, how I managed to fit all this in, because this is not my day job, and being you know, flying airplanes is not my day job. Why didn't the markers move, by the way? You can move these, by the way, with the mouse wheel. I thought they adjusted them. I must have missed something on the startup. There is a click spot somewhere to get them to go and adjust themselves, isn't there? And I missed it during startup. Anyway. Yeah, so somebody was asking me about how on earth I fit this in. And I don't. I stay up very late, many nights. And that's the reason sometimes you'll see me disappear for a few days, because either, you know, the normal life has got in the way, as it does with all of us. So this is very much my hobby. I guess the plus side of that is when you get a view from me or an experience that, you know, where I'm showing you an aeroplane, you're seeing it from a non-pilot perspective, from a man in the street that is just interested in aviation. And quite often...
Hi, Captain Jonathan. Would you like anything to drink or a small snack?
We're good, thank you. I'm just going to go and make a coffee in a minute, so yeah, we're fine.
Copy, Captain. Enjoy your coffee.
So what was I going to say? Yes, you get the kind of the non-professional opinion from me, which is the same for most of us, isn't it? But it does mean every day is a school day. So I will make mistakes. There will be things I don't know. Sometimes I get some cracking feedback on the live streams, and I get some wonderful emails from retired pilots. That's been probably the highlight of having the YouTube channel. Has been the wonderful emails I get with pilots telling stories about their careers.
Lima Kilo, flight level 350. Ryanair 41 Lima Kilo, radar contact.
Okay, I'm going to go make that coffee now. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Langen Radar, Ryanair 41 Lima Kilo, flight level 300.
Ryanair 41 Lima Kilo, radar contact.
Okay, I'm back and I have coffee. Let's give a quick check around the aeroplane, see how we're doing. It's all looking fine. Look overhead. Just looking at that tiny gap there, that must be something that's a facet of the real aeroplane. Should we go and have a look? I'm going to go and turn on the drone camera. So if we go Shift X, now turn on my Xbox controller.
Eurowing 7 Romeo, descend and maintain flight level 250. Cleared for the Nolgo 3 Papa arrival into Hamburg.
Oh.
Down to flight level 250, cleared for the Nolgo 3 Papa arrival into Hamburg, Eurowing 7 Romeo.
So what's happening there is my Xbox controller is controlling the aeroplane on the... I can't change altitude and it's going to kick the rudders. Unless I do it really gently. It's going to kick out the autopilot potentially though. Yeah, it's affecting the rudder. I can't do it. I'll have to do that once we land. I'll do it another day. I'm turning off the Xbox controller. It's still mapped to control the flight surfaces. Yeah, I've just disconnected it. So let's see, the autopilot's still okay. Because obviously if you get too much of a control deflection, it will kick out the autopilot. So I can't touch it at the moment. That's a shame, isn't it? Okay, let's increase the range on the navigation display so we can see what's coming. 160 mile range. Move the mouse out of my way so I can actually... I'm going to go look something up that I'm interested in.
Condor 272, contact Langen Radar on 125.68.
2 Langen radar on 125.68H, Condor 272.
So the ETP marker, I've just looked it up, it's the equal time point. It's a safety marker. So it would take the same amount of time once we go past there to get to Manchester as it would to turn around and go home. I always find, I've talked about this before on live streams, I always find this fascinating to watch the VORs changing as you fly. I think it's fascinating. So if we put this on VOR mode, you can see it doing it. So as you fly along, the guidance systems, there's 3 guidance systems, or 3 primary guidance systems. You've got obviously the GPS. You've also got inertial guidance, but you've also got obviously radio navigation. So while you're flying along the route, the aeroplane, actually we can see it doing both on here. If we go and put this on, yeah, it's on arc mode. And if we turn the VORs on, so as we fly along, you'll see it tune in to nearby VORs to triangulate the position. So this is obviously pointing at the VORs. Here we go, look, it's just about to change, look. And now it's looking at the one just over here until we fly past it. And it will keep doing it throughout the flight. I think it's really cool that it does that. It's just that level of simulation, isn't it? It's very impressive. There are all these kind of little tiny corners of the systems that you otherwise wouldn't look twice at. I wonder if we can do... We haven't got a printer, have we? But I wonder if we can do weather requests on AOC. Should we try it? So AOC, WX, and we'll put in the ICAO code for Manchester, which will be EGCC. And we're asking for METAR. So METAR is the current weather, TAF is the forecast. So we'll ask for both and send our request. Okay. So you should get a message received in a few moments, and it will be, you'll see it over here as well as down here. It will be our weather forecast. I don't know how long it's going to take for it to happen. We'll see, won't we? Of course, knowing me, it will already have happened, and I'm waiting for something that's not going to tell us. No, it hasn't got there yet. Maybe it isn't implemented, who knows? So something else.
Lufthansa
Oh, there we go.
Contact Langenradar on 128.505.
We'll let Amanda do that, and then I'll tell you what I was going to tell you a moment ago.
Contacting Langen radar on 128.505. Lufthansa 073. Langen radar, Lufthansa 073. Good afternoon at flight level 340.
Lufthansa 073, Langenradar, identified. Guten Tag.
So, as I was saying, last night I did a group flight with Maya, who I have mentioned on the channel in the past, and I recorded it. They didn't know I was recording because I didn't want anybody to do any kind of performative, communication, so I captured a typical Maya group flight, and then I edited it down to kind of a highlight reel. And I've passed it around them today to say, right, okay, you didn't know I was doing this, but I was. I've recorded it, and I've let them all give me the go-ahead to yes or no. I don't know if I will get clearance to be able to share it, because obviously sharing other people on the internet, you have to get permission. You can't just... If it's just me, it's fine. But, yeah. So if they do give permission, I think it'll be really insightful for people to see and watch and listen to a Maya group flight with a group of people from all over the world joining together on the sim and doing voice comms, like doing radio telephony basically between each other. So a couple of them volunteer for each flight as the air traffic services. So we use Discord to do it, and you get to talk to a human instead of an AI voice or a VATSIM, a very strict VATSIM controller. So it's much, much more relaxed. And you'll get a flavour of that in the video if I'm allowed to share it. So there's a couple of bits where I made mistakes or other people made mistakes, and there's laughter and a little bit of banter here and there, and it makes a world of difference. And for anybody coming into this world of the big jets and talking to the tower, having that kind of more relaxed on-ramp is a lot easier, and it's a lot more accessible for most people. So yeah, hopefully they'll give me the go-ahead. I can share the video and you'll see and be able to... Hopefully it will encourage a few of you to come and join us on the group flights with Maya, because they are a great bunch of guys. For a long time, my middle daughter used to come and do the flights when she was younger, but now she works hours that aren't very kind to giving her evening. She works in a pub. So, yeah, she's probably the only server in a pub that's flown a simulated 737, I would imagine, and knows the radio telephony language. It's quite amusing. She got quite proficient at flying the 737 once upon a time. Doing the Maya group flights, we've also been experimenting with JoinFS, because JoinFS, if you've not seen it...
073, contact Amsterdam radar on 128.58.
JoinFS, if you've not seen it, allows people in the different simulators to see each other.
Switching to Amsterdam radar on 128.58. Lufthansa 073.
Shall we have a quick look around the systems?
Lufthansa 073. Good afternoon, with you, flight level 340.
So what I'm going to do is move us down here. If you've never seen this in the sim...
Lufthansa 073, Amsterdam radar identified. Good afternoon.
This is where this gets really interesting, I always think. So we can look at all the different statuses. So there's the engines with what they're doing. There's the APU bleed system. Or engine bleed as well. The pressurization system. AC electrics. DC electrics. Hydraulics. The APU, obviously the APU is off at the moment, so it's showing 0. Air conditioning systems. Door statuses. Wheel statuses. The flight control systems. The fuel status. It's good, isn't it? And if you select one again, obviously it goes to like a hybrid view, which shows you a dynamic view according to the state of flight. So you'll see it changing. You'll have seen it changing during engine startup. It would have shown different screens here for takeoff and so on. Okay, so we're just coming up to halfway. Should we go and familiarise ourselves with the other half of the route then? So we are flying across Germany, and well, we're not in Germany anymore, are we? Crossing over into Dutch airspace, just on the border, look. So Belgium and the Netherlands. So then we're going to cross over the channel, come via the Lambourne VOR, then off across the UK and descending on the, now which one was it? Elvo 1 Mike, wasn't it? Elvos 1 Mike. So we can have, this gives us a good heads up actually. Once we begin descending, we need to be at 20,000 feet for Elvos. So let's have a little look. So then 8,000 feet, and we've got a 230 knot speed constraint once we get to Dane, and then it's going to be vectors. There's no flight plan there. Now let's have a quick look. If we go and remove 23 right, we know it's 23 right. So there is a transition for, yeah, not for that one. We can superimpose it on. So MCT would be coming in straight over the airport. Well, we can probably get vectors from Dane. In which case they'll probably send us out this way and bring us in on a box pattern. We'll see what happens. They may even, as soon as we get anywhere near the approach, they may just give us vectors if it's quiet, to go straight over here. So they may give us a waypoint out here, like Dessig or something. I guess we'll find out when it happens.
Speedbird 812, contact Bremen radar on 124.075.
Switching to Bremen radar on 124.075, he's Speedbird 812.
Okay, so we got a fantastic comment actually from the Barris 7516 on YouTube saying, first of all, thank you very much for all the guides on YouTube of the various planes and flight sim in general. I enjoy your videos, as in my opinion they are the most comprehensive ones on YouTube. I would argue against that, but that's just me being, I don't like taking too much credit. My favourite content creator, I think his name is Emmanuel, the A330 driver, is he called these days? He used to be a 7.3 driver. He's an amazing, he's a professional pilot obviously, but he goes the extra mile when he has time and makes these small videos on YouTube explaining little bits and pieces of the cockpit, and they are absolutely invaluable. And it's the sort of knowledge you wouldn't know unless you've been through the Airbus school. So we have a question. I bought the LG rudders and the TCA Airbus side stick and throttle to practice for a pilot license. How would you practice if you'd be practicing for a pilot's license? Well, although I wasn't going for a pilot's license, I did something halfway towards it. If you go and look at, I'll see if I can find it on the internet for everybody while we're here, which is always a bit dangerous because you never know what's going to pop up on the internet, do you? There's a shop on the internet called Poolies. Poolies.com, here we go. and this is going to be quite expensive, but it's the best reference materials for the real world or for simulation. So we're going to look at pilot training, and we're going to look at what are we looking at? Aircraft guides. They've got bundles somewhere here. Ebook bundles. No, we want the full bundles. Flight Aviation Academy. What's this? Let's have a look. No, that's not what we're after. I'll know when we see it. They sell a huge bag with a load of stuff in it, and it's absolutely brilliant, because I bought it. I can't remember what they call it. Oh, here we go. PPL training material and starter kits. So they've got the various books, which are brilliant. They are by far the best books I've ever seen. But if you keep going down, we're not going to find it, are we? That's if they still sell it. They used to sell a bag full of stuff. Here we go. Pilot starter kit, PPL fixed wing. So you get a reflective jacket, you get a map of your own choice, you get a knee board, you get the book to go on the knee board, you get the ring-bound Pulleys flight guide of airports in the UK, for example. You get a ruler, which is the right scale for the map, obviously, and a compass for the map. You get a whole stack of the books. So you can see the list here, look. Now, it looks expensive because it's nearly £300, but what you're getting in here is spectacular. You also get a CRP1, a flight analog calculator for avionic stuff, you know, so it tells you wind offsets and all the rest of it. It's really, really good, and you get a bag to put it all in. But yeah, it's by far the best pack I've seen anywhere online. And I did an unboxing of it, actually. If you go and search on my YouTube channel, if we go to YouTube and go to me, this is going to break the internet, isn't it? If I go view channel and search for unboxing, there it is.
Whoa, what's that? I just want to.
Oh, I need to stop that because I'll get a copyright strike probably if anybody hears. There we go. So I did a full unboxing of the box when it arrived, and you can see me going through it, getting all the bits and pieces out. But yeah, it's an absolutely brilliant pack, worth every penny. And the ring-bound book has got every airfield in the UK. I'm not sure if you can swap that out for different countries.
073, expect the Elvos 1 Mike arrival. I'll have you descending in about 20 minutes.
Expecting the Elvo 1 Mike arrival. Lufthansa 073.
Okay, so let's have a look for that chopper descent. Oh, he said 20 minutes out, so yeah, it's not showing up yet. Let's go and increase to 320. There it is. But yeah, if you've got enough money and if you're doing the training, I did it as a series of videos. I went through and did a lot of the learning from the basic flight training as a series of YouTube videos. So we did things like, you know, I don't know, the pattern. We did climbing turns, descending turns, flying straight and level, steep turns, spins, stalls, and recovery from unusual attitudes, all that sort of stuff. And it's all covered in the books, and the books, you can get an optional upgrade on the paper books and get the PDFs of them as well. or the electronic versions, I figured out a way to get them out as PDFs because they have their own app to look at them. But yeah, fantastic. It's really brilliant. Oh, you get a flight logbook as well. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's worth every penny. That's just me. But if you are going for flight training, then these books take you through everything. They've got not just the the basics of flying, but it's got things like meteorology. It's got the engineering of the technical side of how the airplane works. It's got the human factors, so things like what's the word? Saturation. Yeah, where you're overloaded and you can't keep up and you end up behind the airplane, and how dangerous that becomes because you're trying to juggle too many things. Also, obviously, things like hypoxia, things like that. But yeah, the books are fantastic. And there's one of the books is purely about aviation law, with the rules. There's another book, I don't think it comes with the pack, I bought it as an extra afterwards, which is Instrument Flight Rules, which is quite a heavy, thick book. But strangely enough, because of flying the simulators for years, I knew almost everything in the IFR book before I opened it. I was quite surprised how much I did know when I went and had a read of it, because obviously it's explaining how VOR radios work, how GPSs work, and if you've been flying sims for a couple of years, you probably know that inside out anyway. Whereas somebody obviously in the real world that's never done it, it's going to be alien to them. But that's the huge advantage, isn't it, of simulators? We can have spent hours and hours poring over these systems, like the Garmins, things like that, and know them inside out. Whereas your normal person in the street only gets to play with them for an hour during their flying lesson. And of course, the person in the street doesn't get to jump in a A340 and fly it. They get to go down their local flying club and get in a 152 or something like that. Whereas we can be, in the 3 different airplanes on the same night. Okay, if we go and put the terrain radar on, you will see the coast now. There we go. So you can see the coast of the UK. There's the Thames estuary. There's the wash up there. While we're looking at things and wasting some time en route, I often get questions from people who see me using things like Navigraph and say, oh, do I really need Navigraph? No, you don't. It's a nice to have. So if you can afford it, it's absolutely wonderful. But you don't need it anymore in the sim. If you press tab and go into the flight planner, this will do almost all the things that Navigraph will do. Now you can see I don't have a flight plan in here at the moment. That's not to say I couldn't have if I wanted one. Because what they did when they built Flight Simulator 2024 is they did a deal. This used to be a separate product made by Lufthansa Systems. And I think it was their training aid originally. So you can come into here and you can go and throw your route in. So if I go and borrow my route from... Actually, no, let's do it from the way you might do it. So if you go into Simbrief and you grab the route from
Amsterdam
here.
radar, ICE-Air 501, flight level 170.
And we come back into the flight planner page.
Radar contact.
If I paste my route in here and save it, so this is the route straight out of Simbrief. So there it is on the map. and we say it's IFR, and we can save that, yeah? And save new plan. And it saved it. The trick being, this has got all the charts and everything you might want anyway. So if we went and looked in Kneeboard, this has got all of the charts relative to the flight we've just described. So we can scroll down, look, we can see all the different bits and pieces. So there's the input to Sierra. And it's got the Lufthansa Systems version of what, well, obviously we saw the Jeppesen chart in Navigraph, but this is the Lufthansa Systems charts. But the trick being, once you've saved that in that website, and it's a free website by the way, you can then come into the EFB in the aeroplane and you can load from the web. And there's our one we've just saved. So we will go and grab that one, download it into the EFB, and there it is, and we are on the route. But the trick being that obviously we've got the clipped charts. We've also got the charts in here, look, so we can get that out of the way. So if we go, where is it? Clip charts. So for this flight, it's predicted what charts we might need. So here's the Manchester one. So there's the Elvo star, and there's the Lufthansa Systems version of it. So we're going to come in via Elvos.
Control, flyer 37 Yankee, flight level 240.
Coming down towards the Dane VOR. There's the airport.
Yankee radar contact.
So you've got the charts built in. You don't need Navigraph. The one thing Navigraph does give you is up-to-date air data.
Contact Amsterdam radar on 118.805.
Switching to Amsterdam radar on 118.805. Lufthansa 073.
So someone's commented saying, oh my word, he's going to Manchester, not Stansted. Has he made a mistake?
Amsterdam radar, Lufthansa 073. Good afternoon, with you, flight level 340.
The only reason I've historically used Stansted a lot is because it's not so busy.
Lufthansa 073, Amsterdam radar identified. Good afternoon.
But typically I will fly anyway.
Bravo, Bravo, whiskey contact. Mitten Zealand on 119.255.
119.255 for Papa Hotel Bravo, Bravo, whiskey.
Yeah, so the only reason I've used Stansted a lot in the past is it tends to be a bit quieter, especially if you have multiplayer switched on. So Heathrow is usually obviously jam-packed and full of people, and so are some of the other big airports, and Manchester may well be, because I've got the custom version of Manchester installed that came out recently, the really good one, and it is fantastic. But yeah, just getting back to the EFB, it's got all this built in 2024. It's very good. They obviously did the deal with Lufthansa Systems to let them use their charts and planner. The strange thing is, it's a real shame that when you look at this on the internet, you can't see where your aeroplane is. If they could do that, that would be wonderful. But it just doesn't do it. So there's lots of options though. You know, you can show cloud coverage. Is it going to do it? Okay, I want to go for rain maybe then. Maybe it hasn't been raining today, I don't know. You can show the weather being, yeah, it's not very clear, but you can see it changing. It's very good. Got wind barbs on the map. Do we have to zoom out a certain distance to see them or something? or not at all. This is where I start playing and manage to break it, isn't it? Anyway. We ought to start paying attention, didn't we? We're only 100 miles away from top of descent now. So, does anybody in the chat know how to solve the fuel problems in the Inibuilds A340-300? What are the fuel problems? Because saying the fuel problems implies that we know.
Control on 121.23.
Switching to London Control on 121.23. Lufthansa 073.
Right, I'm going to take over radio comms now once she's done the transfer.
London Control, Lufthansa 073. Good afternoon at flight level 340.
Wait for their response.
Lufthansa 073, London Control identified. Good afternoon.
So notice you get regional accents from air traffic services with say intentions as well. Hi Amanda, I'll take over radio communications now.
Sure, Jonathan. You're in charge of the radios now.
Okay. So we need to go and put the destination data in, don't we? So if we go back to the flight plan page, we never did get the weather data back, did we? So if we go into Navigraph and information for Manchester, open the airport, open the weather, and we're going to go and put the data in. So if we go to the perf page, next phase, and there's approach. So QNH at Manchester is going to be 1016 hectopascals. Temperature on the ground at Manchester is 5 degrees centigrade. Wind is 309 knots. So 309 knots, and that's all. Transition altitude, let's just check that just to be certain. Transition level by ATC, the ILS charts typically have the, there we go, it's 5,000 feet, good to know. Barrow or radio?
Control, Sunturk 66 Mike Juliet, flight level 170.
Sunturk 66 Mike Juliet, radar contact.
So it's going to be 449 if we go with the radio. And we're going with full flaps, and that's done. So
London Control, Ryanair 14 Sierra Tango.
Good.
Flight level 320.
Ryanair 14 Sierra Tango, radar contact.
So let's go and double check actually. We'll use LittleNavMap to show you that you can do this on here as well. So we're flying down the pipe towards Manchester. I'm going to go and show the information for Manchester, which will give us the elevation of the airport, which is 237 feet. Let's go and double check the ILS. So 10950, 231 degrees. It should be pre-programmed in the Airbus. 10950, 231 degrees. Yep, perfect. So 80 miles out from top of descent, or from our latest top of descent. Although we could go later and use the spoilers. If we go and look at the charts, It's easier to see this in Navigraph, isn't it? Go and look at the standard terminal arrival route. We need to be at 200 Elvos. So let's just double check. Does this have the constraint? Elvos. Yes, it has. Look, there's an asterisk next to flight level 200. So if we were to do a managed descent, in other words, dial in the lower altitude and press the top half of the knob to tell the aeroplane you follow the instructions in here, it would be able to do it. So let's bring the range down a bit. There's top of descent coming, there's the Lambo on VOR. Turn the radar off so we can see the weather. So can you also get the destination data from the Flight Sim Planner page? That's a really good question. If you can't, you can go to windy.com and you can put in the airport code. So Manchester Airport, weather station, or the Manchester Airport itself. Let's go and have a look. So it's going to give you a ton of information. So basically, yes, this can do it. The other trick you can use, obviously it depends on you using live weather in the simulator. The other trick you can use is Meta Live, which is, I only discovered this recently. So if we put in EG
radar contact
CC for Manchester, it gives you a nice readout there, look, of everything you're going to need to know. Good, isn't it? So 300 at 9, 5 degrees, dew point, altimeter, and it even gives you some nice charts and graphs and nearby airports. So yeah, it's worth knowing, Metar.live. Obviously that depends on you using live weather. Okay, we're getting there. Be descending in a few minutes' time. See here, look, Lambo on is the next waypoint. So we're looking to come in at 10 to 1. 160 miles to run. But that won't necessarily be true because they probably give us vectors. We're anticipating having 6 tons of fuel left when we get there. This is the only problem with these modern jets, isn't it? There's nothing to do on the mid part of the flight. You're just sat here twiddling your thumbs. away, 40 miles from top of descent. We will descend a little bit early because I want to show you something. I've shown it once before, I think, on the channel. There's something really worth knowing. Have a look at it from outside again while we're flying along. It's a pretty aeroplane, isn't it? It's such a monster. So which exact one is this that we've got the livery for? Castrop Roxel. Very cool. We're getting there. I wonder if we need any updated winds. Should we go and have a look? If we go into init and go back into wind, we can do another wind request. Honestly, it's pretty much the same, I think. It hasn't changed. So that's the cruise wind. We can go next phase.
Lufthansa 073 cleared Elvos 1 Mike into Manchester. When you're ready to begin your descent, descend flight level 260.
Cleared for the Elvo 1 Mike into Manchester. We will begin our descent in a couple of minutes' time. Lufthansa 073. So we need to go down to 260. So notice when I do this, nothing happens, because I haven't pushed it or pulled it yet. So I haven't told the aeroplane how to get there. If we were to click the bottom half of the knob and pull it, the aeroplane will do an open descent and it will get it down as fast as it can. If we press towards the and it will go straight to that altitude. If we press towards the aeroplane, click the top half of the knob, it will use managed mode and it will follow the profile, including any constraints. So even if you ask, I could put it, if we were going to use constraints all the way, I could put this to 0 and tell it in managed mode to go for the ground, but it will follow all of the constraints along the way of the altitudes we have to stay above or below. But we've only been cleared to 26,000 feet, so that's all I'm going to do for the moment. So we're just approaching top of descent. I am going to do it now. I'm pushing it towards. Now, because it doesn't need to be descending yet, see this dot has appeared. That's the profile. It wants us to still be flying along level at 34,000 feet. And so, because it knows we've gone early, it's only going to descend at 1,000 feet a minute.
Altitude and have started our approach to Manchester. Please return to your seats, stow your tables, and fasten your seatbelts. The use of the lavatories is now not allowed. Thank you for your cooperation.
So yeah, because the aeroplane knows we're descending early, it's going to restrict it to 1,000 feet a minute, and you can see that dot is wedged up against the top of the altitude ribbon. That will catch up with us. So, because if you imagine we're coming in at a shallow angle and the actual profile might be steeper, so we'll meet the profile at some point, so you'll see that dot come back towards us. Does that make sense? And we'll suddenly, the descent rate, you'll see the throttles come back and the descent rate will increase. The reason I was also updating the wind to see if it was any different is because that would have a bearing on how quickly you can descend. It's not going to affect us today because we've got a headwind. But if you imagine this profile is predicated by the wind, so everything the aeroplane knows about what's going on in the atmosphere is programmed in. So it calculates if we start descending at a given point and we glide essentially down, then we'll get down in time, if as long as we start at a given point. But what if we can't? What if the wind changes on the way down and we get a tailwind, which is then pushing us over the ground faster than this had planned for? Therefore we end up higher at a later point than it was planning for. So that's why this dot becomes important, so you can see where you are in terms of the profile. So if you get above the dot, that's a sign to go and put the spoilers out and to help the aeroplane come down more steeply to get back onto the profile. And that's typically why you find people too high and too fast when they're doing a group flight or something, is because they weren't paying attention to this, and they weren't paying attention to the wind, or they just missed top of descent and started coming down too late. You can come down late within reason, and you'll often see the real aircraft doing it on purpose. So say you're 10 minutes late leaving the gate. En route, the aeroplane will stay at altitude and speed as long as it can, so it may go late for the descent and come in steeper with the spoilers out, which is typically why you'll see in your holiday jets descending all the way down with the air brakes hanging out, because they're making up for time for that passenger that caused the aeroplane to be late leaving the gate at the departure. So they're doing their best to make up time, and plus there's obviously going to be fees involved. If you're late at the airport and you miss your gate that you were planned, I imagine there's all sorts of penalties kick in. There we go, look, we caught up with the profile.
Descend flight level 250.
Descending flight level 250, Lufthansa 073. Typically on the approach you stick to the constraints, so you don't do an open descent straight to the altitude they've asked for. So you can see here, look, we're slightly below the profile, but we're catching it back up. If we stay significantly below it, it's a sign that we need to use this, and we're already at idle, perhaps. If we can't catch up with the profile, then we have to use the spoilers to help the aeroplane come down more steeply. So let's bring the range down again so we can see some of these constraints coming in. It won't be so jumbled up. So we need to be at 20,000 feet to Elvos, and we're pretty much on target to do that. And notice the engines are actually spooling up. And we're going above. The reason for that, so I'm going to go and help it with the spoilers. The reason for that is it's trying to get the speed down to, it was bringing the speed down as we descend. So I'm going to help it descend. Oh, we only went to 250, didn't we? We're supposed to get to 200. Who are we talking to? London Control. London Control, Lufthansa 073, requesting lower, please.
Lufthansa 073, descend altitude 16,000 feet.
So we'll see this happen now. I'm going to go managed mode. Now we've fallen behind the profile, but we need to come through. We're on managed mode, so it'll only go to 20,000 feet. I'm going to throw the spoilers out to show you it do it. So speed brakes are out. By speed brakes I mean these flaps on the wings. Which means the aeroplane can descend much more quickly, and we're going to catch back up with the profile. It's making a right old noise, isn't it? Here comes the profile, come off the speed brakes. We've now gone below the profile, so we got to 20,000 feet much more quickly than it needed to. Aeroplane's levelling out, look, to hit 20,000 feet, which is a constraint on our flight plan. So it's not going to go any lower than 20,000, even though we've targeted 16. Makes sense? When we get through Elvos, it will start descending again. But it's also using this chance to slow down, look. So, because it's got a 250 knot further down the road, so it's trying to do it now. So notice the profile is now above us, which is interesting. And we've crept below 20,000 feet, which is not entirely correct. Let's go up altitude hold on for a moment.
Lufthansa 073, contact London Control on 134.39er.
This has had a bit of a fit, hasn't it? We're trying to understand. Okay, contacting London Control 134.39er, Lufthansa 073. London Control, Lufthansa 073 with you at 20,000 feet, descending for 16,000.
Lufthansa 073, London Control identified. Hello there.
There's a really good point made in the live stream comments. If you are cleared down to an altitude on approach, sorry, on arrival, you typically, if you are giving an altitude on arrival, it is the convention that you are going to do it following the constraints of the start. Descend flight level 070, Lufthansa 073. So yeah, the convention is on the way down, you would follow the constraints. So you would use managed mode. On the climb out, if they give you an altitude, unless they say with the SID or with the procedure, you would do an open climb if they've told you to climb to a given altitude. So it's kind of the opposite. And it varies from country to country. That's certainly the way it is in America. That if they give you an altitude on climb out, on departure, you go straight for it. If they give you an altitude on arrival, you do it via the procedure, and unless told otherwise.
Approach on 118.58.
Contacting Manchester approach 118.58, Lufthansa 073. Manchester approach, Lufthansa 073 with you, descending to 7,000 feet. So we're now doing 250 knots.
073, heavy Manchester approach identified. Good afternoon, expect the ILS runway 23 right approach into Manchester.
expecting the ILS 23 right approach into Manchester, Lufthansa 073. So is that what we had on our flight plan? Let's go and have a look. Runway 23 right, yes it was. And that's what we've got programmed on here as well. So, go over to the message. So the next thing for us to do is going to be lights on at 10,000 feet. We're already doing 250 knots, so there's a 250 knot limit below 10,000 feet for commercial aviation. When we come through Dane, we may well be given vectors. Should we ask, this is where say intentions really comes into its own. We're going to ask Manchester approach. Manchester approach, Lufthansa 073. May we have vectors after we pass through Dane? Because this is not real.
073, turn right, heading 360 vectors for the ILS runway 23 right approach.
Turn right, heading 360 vectors for the ILS runway 23 right approach, Lufthansa 073. So let's have a look at that on the map. So we're just coming down this way. We're going to go to Dane, and if we then measure distance, that would be the direction they want us to travel, yeah? That which gives us the turning point to come in on the feathers, which will be 8 miles out. And we can work that out as well then, what altitude we need to be, or we can see that on the charts as well. We've got the chart. We can do it by hand, but we can look here, look. We need to be at 3,500 feet. 10 or 8 miles out, a little bit less than that. But yeah, so yeah, we should be okay. How are we doing? 15,000 at the moment. And we're way behind the profile, so I'm going to throw the spoilers out and help the aeroplane descend. Where I've been busy talking, I wasn't watching the profile. So look at the nose dipping. Look how much difference the spoilers make. So it can still hold 250 knots, but it can fall out of the sky like a brick. We've just caught up with the profile, look. So we'll go to vectors once we pass Dane. We're going to take no notice of this bit of flight plan. So I'm giving it a small amount of speed brake just to hold the profile. We were creeping above it again.
Ryanair 63 Juliet Hotel contact London Control on 127.105.
Over to London Control on 127.105 at Ryanair 63 Juliet Hotel.
So I can see the comment there in the live stream.
073, turn right heading 020.
Turn right heading 020-073. So that's the instruction, so we're leaving the planned flight plan now. So they are taking us from here and they're going to put us onto a box pattern, I would imagine. So if we go and draw this onto LittleNavMap to get some idea of what's going on. Going out that way, and then they'll bring us over, I imagine. We'll just follow the vectors now. Remember, Say Intentions thinks it's night and there's not many aeroplanes around. So if we look on LittleNavMap, look, there's no traffic around. I'm surprised they didn't bring us straight in for the end of the feathers. So it's warning us the speed brakes are still out. But that's because I'm helping the aeroplane descend. So just coming down to 10,000 feet, landing lights go on. At 5,000 feet we'll go and put the barometric pressure in, and we know it should be 1016.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin our final approach into Manchester, please turn off all electronic devices and stow them until we arrive at the gate. Ensure your tray tables are put away, your seats are in the full upright position, and your seat belts are fastened. The current weather in Manchester is mild with no precipitation. Our assigned gate is Pier C24. Thank you for your cooperation.
So if you go and have a look on the map to make some sense of this, we need to be 3,500 when we get over here. We're at 9,000 now, we've got tons of time to do it. It's also worth having a look. If I just sit down slightly in the cockpit, if you look over here, there's the chart of the V-speeds for the flaps. So you've got 215 knots for 1+F, then you've got 196 for flaps 2. The idea being the flaps are really good spoilers as well. So yeah, there was a question in the live stream about going on VATSIM. I would advise you to try out, if your timing agrees with them, try some group flights with MyAir first. They will prepare you well for VATSIM. So will Say Intentions, of course.
Juliet Alpha contact London Control on 133.6. Switching to London Control on 133.6. Easy 38 Juliet Alpha.
Should we put the head tracking on?
Lufthansa 073, descend altitude 4,000 feet, turn left, heading 330, QNH 1015.
Descend 4,000 feet, turn left at 330, Lufthansa 073.
Golf Papa Juliet Sierra Zulu,
yeah, so you can see what they're
London
doing.
Control on 134.39.
They are doing
134.39 for Golf Papa Juliet Sierra Zulu.
It's interesting. They're giving us a hell of a long run in, aren't they? They might give us another turn. I would. Yeah, they'll put us
heavy,
on.
proceed direct, Charlie Foxtrot 23 Romeo. Descend altitude 3500 feet until established on the localizer ELISA, cleared for the ILS runway 23 right approach.
Proceed direct, Charlie Foxtrot 23 Romeo. Descend altitude 3,500 feet until established on the localizer, cleared for ILS runway 23 right approach, Lufthansa 073. So we want CF23 right. Is it already in here? Yes, it is. So we can do a direct to CF23 right and select it again, and that's done it. So this will have gone straight back to managed mode because it's just rewritten the route. And now we just need to go and set this to 3,500 feet. So 3,500 feet. And just keep descending. And let's bring the range in so we can see it more easily. We're now below 5,000, so the standard barometric pressure is flashing at us. It was 1016, wasn't it? What did they say? They didn't. Interesting. It's a big old hill. So we're about to level out.
Ruling 5 Hotel Uniform Contact London Control on 133.
Engines are spinning up. The checklist coming on, ready for landing. So speed's coming off. So we've gone to flaps 1. So it wants us to go and arm the ground spoilers. So we'll go and do that. That just basically means it's going to arm the cylinders on the spoilers so they can pop up quickly on the runway. Flaps for landing, landing gear down. It wants the landing gear down yet. I'm not going to put it down yet because we're not slow enough yet. Speed's on managed mode, so it will decelerate all on its own. You'll see the little blue marker move very soon. Be great to stand on these hilltops watching the airplanes going past, wouldn't it? We'll get handed off to tower after we get lined up, I would imagine. Yep, here comes the speed deceleration, look. So to go to flaps 2, we need to wait until we are at 196 knots. So the target airspeed has dropped right off, look, it's gone for 168 immediately. So as soon as we get a little bit slower, we can extend the flaps further. Now they will take time to travel, so we could preempt it.
Lufthansa 073, contact Manchester Tower on 118.63 at Charlie Foxtrot 23 Romeo.
Contacting Manchester Tower 118.63 at Charlie Foxtrot 23 Romeo, Lufthansa 073. Thank you. So CF23 Romeo, we're about to come through there. So let's go and switch over to Manchester Tower. Manchester Tower, Lufthansa 073 with you, engaged on the localizer for runway 23 right.
Lufthansa 073, heavy Manchester Tower identified.
So there's the localizer, there's the CDI coming in towards it. Gear down. Okay, here comes the glide slope. I'm going to take over. Disengage the autopilot. Cancel the alarm. And it's on me now. We have a 45 knot crosswind. I chose the right day to do this, didn't I?
649 Foxtrot, contact departure on 118.58.
Departure EV 649 Foxtrot, bye-bye.
So we're just watching the glide slope and the localizer. We're slightly off to the left. I'm anticipating the wind is going to scrub away a little bit. I'd be surprised if it is still 40 knots when we get to low altitude.
Heavy, winds 290 at 8, runway 23 right, cleared to land, caution bird activity.
Clear to land, 23 right. Thank you for the warning, bird activity, Lufthansa 073. So yeah, we can see we're off to the right now, so let's go and clear that up. So the wind should push us back towards the centre line. That buzzer, you just have to press that. I think there might be a bug in the aeroplane, to be honest. Yeah, the wind has blown us back onto the, the localizer. We're a little bit high still. Let's get the aeroplane a bit lower. I chose the day to do this, didn't I? Oh, we're going too much the other way now. The wind is dropping off, look, slowly. So we're just easing the plane around, trying to keep these fairly near the target markers. Oh, here comes the rain. .30 knot crosswind still. We're going that way. We're going to have to pull the airplane round over the runway on the rudder, because we're going to be crabbing unless the wind does abate at lower altitude, which it normally does. Whoa, look at that though, the wind just kicked in again and pushed us off massively.
Approaching runway 23 right.
Being kicked around by the weather. Oh my word. Still at 40 knot crosswind. Still can't see the runway.
Above.
Here it comes.
500. Minimum. 400. 300. 200.
100.
50. 40. 30. We went on. 10.
trying to get the front on the ground so I can steer. We're going to run long.
Lufthansa 073, exit at Bravo Delta if able. Contact ground on 121.705.
Manchester. Did you know that Manchester is known as the world's first industrial city? Thank you for flying with Lufthansa. Please remain seated until we reach our final parking position.
Right, I'll just get us straightened up on the taxiway and then we'll switch to ground and get our taxi instructions.
12:57 p.m.
Okay, parking brake on for a moment. I'm going to go and turn the strobes and the landing lights off, put the taxi lights on, and contacting ground 121.705, Lufthansa 073. Good day. Manchester ground, Lufthansa 073 with you, holding on Bravo Delta, requesting taxi to the gates, please.
Lufthansa 073, taxi to Pier C Gate 24 via Bravo Delta, Alpha Delta, Echo Quebec, Echo November Charlie Romeo. Good day.
Oh my word, we'll have to work that out. Taxi via Bravo Delta, Alpha Delta, Echo Quebec, Echo November Charlie Romeo. Good day. So Bravo Delta is where we are, then Alpha Delta Echo Quebec. Alpha Delta Echo. Where's Quebec? P is there, or Papa. I wonder if I get a better chart. Can we get a taxi chart for the stands? Quebec, hang on, so Quebec, Echo, November Charlie, Romeo, November Delta, November Charlie, here we go. So we're staying on Echo until we get up here, November Charlie, and then Romeo. So around the back of here, okay, that makes sense. Okay, off we go then, for our magical mystery tour of the airport. Was it Alpha or Bravo or Delta? I can't remember now. They wanted us on Alpha, didn't they? So it's up here. Then Delta. And here comes the rain again. And then we're going to cross over onto Echo. So we'll go straight line it through here to get to Echo. Hopefully. I think we should have taken that curve there actually, but oh well. Now we're going to run over a bus. And then November Charlie, so we have to go past this and then turn right. Probably because of our size, I would imagine. Is he going to wait there for us? No. Yeah, just keep coming. Thanks. And he's in our way as well. I'm going to have to watch the wing on the posts, because the wings can hit the posts.
Blue Max 2 November uniform, runway 23 left taxi via Golf Juliet Hotel, hold short of runway 23 right, then Hotel Zulu Victor Tango.
Oof, inches away.
Runway 23 left
and we clattered the winglet.
Short of runway 23 right, then Hotel Zulu Victor Tango Blue Max 2 November uniform.
This is us over here.
Lufthansa 943, runway 23 left taxi via Zorange, Zulu, Echo, Quebec, Echo, Delta, Papa, hold short of runway 23 right, then Delta, Zulu, Tango.
Runway 23 left taxi via Zorange, Zulu, Echo, Quebec, Echo, Delta, Papa, hold short of runway 23 right, then Delta,
so,
Zulu,
which
Tango,
number was it?
943.
24. Which is good, because we wouldn't have fitted there. How wide is the body? Okay, parking brake is on. We're on the blocks. So we can ask for the jet bridge. Let's see what happens. Actually, let's get the engines off first. So in ground equipment, we can say attach the GPU, attach the chocks, and then overhead we can go and attach the external power, and then we can turn the engines off, and it will bus transfer over automatically. Then we can go and turn a load of lights off. That's all done, done. If I press Alt+2 to bring us further overhead, it's easier to see them from up here. Okay, that's all done. And then we can go back in here and say, give us the jetway. Will it work? Oh, it kind of will. We almost lined it up. Sort of works, doesn't it? There we go. So, yeah, quite an eventful landing there. Exercised the practice makes perfect skills of spending far too many hours in the sim, which meant we got down in one piece, which was quite handy. I'm going to leave it on the external power. Should we go and have a wander around the aeroplane? I never do this. So this is the 340 from Inibuilds, the A340-300. It's really, really nicely done.
Juliet Echo Foxtrot ready to taxi.
Golf X-Ray Juliet Echo Foxtrot, runway 23 left, taxi via November Charlie, November Alpha Echo Quebec Echo Delta, Papa, hold short of runway 23 right, then Delta Zulu Tango.
Obviously there's the gate.
Runway 23 left, taxi via November Charlie, November Alpha Echo Quebec Echo Delta, Papa, hold short of runway 23 right, then Delta Zulu Tango Golf X-Ray Juliet Echo Foxtrot.
Blue Max 2 November uniform, give way to the Scandinavian ahead.
We'll give way to the Scandinavian 320 Neo, Blue Max 2 November uniform.
It's very cool, isn't it? It's just that the attention to detail is becoming ridiculous, isn't it, in these airplanes? Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, all of the rows have got the appropriate numbers as well.
Scandinavian 4608, contact tower on 118.63.
It's just madness.
Switching to tower, Scandinavian 4608.
Anyway, there we go. So we've landed at Manchester. The wonderful Manchester scenery in the simulator. This is the third-party scenery. Very, very cool. Hopefully you enjoyed that this evening. Hopefully I didn't bore everybody to tears with waffling on about this, that and the other along the way. I have no idea where I'll be flying next in the sim. I'm sure I'll figure it out. But yeah, if you like what you saw, please do go and like and subscribe. I'm rubbish at marketing, I really am. I have a blog, so this flight will be going out on the blog very soon. If you go to johnbeckett.substack.com, every flight I do ends up in the blog. So then you know where I've flown and you can go and watch or skip through the videos, which is what I would do. And, also, it's got a full list of all the procedures and things I've made, so you can go and access them all here. There's quite a lot of them now, isn't there? So yeah, you can download all the procedures I've written up from there as well. Okay, I'll see you all again soon. Thank you ever so much for following along. Take care.